This is my new PC10-3 mini excavator. Well, new to me. It's a used machine. Let's walk around this thing, do a 360 here to show you what it's got. Hydraulic controls, long levers, not little tiny joysticks. It's got a thumb. That's necessary for where I live. I've got, as you can see by looking around a little bit, I've got a rock problem. You can't dig here with a shovel. There's just no point in even trying to dig with a shovel. Small bucket. This is not meant to be big excavations. Actually, a smaller bucket might have been better, but I can always get one of those. Watch Craigslist for a while. Walking around it here, you can see it's not a large machine. It's a little bigger than I thought it would be based on the online ad. And you can read all the descriptions you want, but it's hard to realize the actual size until you get something like this and play with it. It turns out to be the perfect size. It gets over rocks, gets around the yard. I can still get it through my gates, my big gates, not a little pedestrian gate. And do pretty much anything I want to, get anywhere I need to. Just reach out with a bucket if I can't get close enough. We'll walk around here to the back and take a quick look at the motor. I've got the hood up because you gotta have two hands to do it, and I'm using one of those selfie sticks. This motor, yeah, there's dirt on it. I've been using it. I've had it about 2 weeks, and yes, I've put hours on it. Not a heck of a lot, and I got a lot more. I only used up 1 tank of gas so far. Everything is right there. Dipstick, air cleaner, radiator, fuel filter, everything you need to look at every time you start this thing. So you come out in the morning, check the oil, good enough. Check the radiator, full. Air cleaner, well, might bang that around a little bit, knock some dirt out. Fuel filter, looks fine. Start it and go to work. Hasn't had a problem, starts like a dream. Get back here a little bit so you can see it better. You notice how everything is right there. If you have to work on this thing, you can get to it. The hydraulic pump is right there where you can get to it. Nice layout, well thought out. It also serves as a counterweight for the front end. It extends a little bit back over it. All right, I'm going to stop this recording here, set up a tripod, start the thing so you can hear it run, move it around a little bit. Let's you see what it's like when it's running. I don't honestly know how the noise is going to sound up on this. It's not a noisy machine, but it does make noise. Let's start this thing and see how it does. I'll put the hood down first. That's the sound the machine makes at low idle. Just enough to keep the battery charged and not discharge it. I'm going to stop the camera, reset the tripod, and see that pile of rocks over there? We're going to pick up a rock. That is what is most amazing about this machine. I don't have to pick those suckers up and carry them myself. I don't have to load them in a wheelbarrow and trot it around the house to get rid of them. Like I said, I have a rock problem. Let's do that now. Alright, I'll pick one of those rocks out and move it. The idea is to illustrate the fact that you can pick up rocks with these things, and they're very useful. Okay, the rock's in the bucket. Now the reason that's important is because you can travel with it. With the rock in the bucket like that, you can just take off up the road and dump it somewhere else. Matter of fact, there's a pile of rocks up there that I've done that with. These particular rocks, I'm going to use to wrap around this tree. But it was handy, so I used to pick it up. Now don't expect Andrew Camarata. I'm not an expert at this. We're looking at 5 to 7 hours of actually hands-on doing stuff with it. Not just driving it up and down the road to get it from one place to another, but using it. I'll have a lot more hours and I'll get better as I go. You notice I staggered a bit and had a little trouble getting the rock in and that kind of stuff. Experts can do it real quick. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just learning. But this machine is completely capable of being run by an amateur. Then you become a professional and you start charging people for it. That's not the intent here. This is my machine to use on my yard any way I see fit. Anytime I want to. That's the important part. So let's itemize a few things. There's no electronics on this thing. No circuit boards to burn out. No fancy things to die because you're driving down the road and it's too hot. Everything's hydraulic, easy to work on, easy to fix, and you know if it's bad because it leaks. So let's stop this. Basic introduction's over. This is my machine. I can do anything I want to with it. Isn't that awesome? Don't have to pay rental fees or get it back on time on Monday morning. One more thing I sort of forgot. These things can be sort of a black hole. Got this wonderful excavator, and the next thing I noticed was the neighbor needed a hole for a tree. Got a phone call from a friend, wanting a rock pulled out. Stop by somebody's house and they say, oh, you got an excavator? Well, how about Well, these things have a top speed of about 1 mile an hour. So if the guy lives 6 miles away, you can see what would happen. Plus, you'd probably use a couple of tanks of fuel. That led to the trailer, which, you know, I spent a weekend looking for it. Wound up with this one. Then later, you think, gee, a narrower bucket would be nice, and maybe etc. These things can become a black hole for money. Let me give you an example. You pick up a rock like I did earlier. Now what are you going to do with it? You're going to go 1.1 miles an hour all the way around to your rock pile and back. So you need a tractor. I fortunately have a tractor, but if you don't, that's the next step. And of course, if you have a wife that is concerned about money and parking and that kind of stuff, you might meet some opposition. Therefore, I recommend teaching the wife how to use the excavator and the tractor and let her get a feel for it, because it'll catch on. They love the power. That way, when you need a new box plow or perhaps a rake for the tractor, you don't get nearly as much opposition. Okay, now you have some idea of what I'm actually up against. It's not an insurmountable problem. If worse comes to worse, I'll just break the rock off. Take a jackhammer to it, pop the top off, bury it back, and as many of the other rocks around it as I can as well. But now let's take a few minutes to talk about a couple of other things. This is how I actually store it. When I turn it off at night, these are all up, and there's a reason for that. I also live in rat country. They've already built down in there. They've already built over there. We have to carefully watch our machines around here. We don't want the rats destroying them. People every day talk about how many thousands of dollars they've lost in damages to their trucks. So it gets stored like that. Eventually I'll put it in the barn every night, but right now I come out, I don't really want to drag it out of the barn every time I want to use it. But let's talk about buying one of these things. You've got a problem similar to mine, and you want to move some rock out of the way. You want to move some brick. You want to dig a nice big trench for your 220 out your workshop. You want to bury some lines for the drip watering system. These things are not cheap. They are expensive. Buying them used is really the only way for a normal person to get one. So you go on Craigslist and you look, and then after looking at 25 machines that the hoses have been rotted off and they haven't moved in 2 years and they're rat infested, and then you look at some other machines that are way too expensive but carefully maintained, then you look at new ones, and then you widen your scope. You wind up buying or thinking about buying from someone way far away. I used NGO Corporation, an NGO company. Wonderful place, guy named Ray, treated me like a human being, answered my questions, was not the least bit short-tempered with me when I asked stupid ones, and talked me through the process. Let's face it, sending multiple $1,000s via wire somewhere is a bit scary. Ray helped me a lot. Sent me pictures of the machine both when it came off of the ship and just before it was shipped. I got notifications from the company that shipped it over here. They brought it up on a 40-foot trailer, unloaded it right down the road, and I drove it home. I highly recommend this company. There are others, and they are probably just as good as Ray. I chose Ray because he was easy to deal with. One or two of them were almost nasty to me because I didn't know what I was doing and didn't know the right questions to ask, and they wanted to tell me what I needed. So I did not use them. Shop around. Look, give Ray a call. Think about it. These are great machines, and they'll help you. They'll help you with your land, your operations, and you may need a bigger one than I have. Thank you very much for putting up with me. Bye now.